you talk a good game. You talk a good game. You talk a good game. You talk a good.
Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, a new feature from the Hammers Chat forum, and I am Red Hammer myself, and I've got two fellow members of the Hammers Chat forum with me tonight. The aim of this new feature is to simply talk all things West Ham, news, gossip, transfers and matches. We want your opinion as well, and at the end of the show we'll tell you how you can interact with us, but first I'll introduce my two fellow members. Gonzo, how are you doing tonight?
Lovely. I'm Big Nose Gonzo.
And Charlie, you okay yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Hello. I also look like Jesus. There you go.
There is that, but don't worry about it, because I'm Scottish. You just can tell by my voice, but what you can't see is I'm wearing a kilt.
You need subtitles.
Cheers.
What are you saying?
Right. Ignore him. He thinks he's funny, but he's not. But you'll be used to him on the forum. But anyway, apologies that our subjects tonight are going to be quite old and chunky, but because it's the first show, we're going to cover the big juicy bits from the last few months anyway. But from next week onwards, it'll be a lot more topical. But the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the new stadium. Obviously, it's going to be a memorable season, this one, our last year at Upton Park. I think this decision to move to the Olympic Stadium split the fans initially, but I think they're warming to the idea. Gonzo, were you pro or against the move?
I'm pro. I'm definitely pro. Doesn't mean I don't have ties to the old stadium. We all sort of grew up with it, and there'll be a lot of memories there. But funny enough, it was driven home to me last Thursday for the European game. Just rush hour through London, Jubilee line, District line. It was an absolute nightmare. And before we even talk about the stadium, just the transport links themselves are going to be such a benefit. I went to the Olympics. I was lucky enough to get some tickets, and I think the athletics was on, the velodrome, the swimming, the hockey. I think it was 120,000 people. We pretty much walked out of there. Some people walked to West Ham Station, some to Stratford, some to the DLR. We didn't stop once, and I'm not saying we jumped straight onto an empty train. The trains were full, but we pretty much. I managed to get 120,000 people out at Olympic Park in about 20 minutes. So, as I say, that for me is a real bonus.
And Charlie, are you against the move, or have you always been for it?
I was definitely against it at first, just because. I mean, I prefer us to build a new ground as opposed to just moving into the Olympic Stadium, because it's much better to have one that's purpose-built for football, as opposed to what we've got now, which we're going to be sitting quite far away and all these other things. Economically, though, I mean, it makes sense beyond belief. Like, it's not quite as good as everyone likes to make out. It is like we're not exactly moving in for free, but at the end of the day, if we're looking to move into a bigger ground, there is literally no better option for it, like money-wise. And since we don't have a mega rich owner, it's kind of difficult to just on a whim build a new stadium. So I guess ultimately I'm for it, although, yeah, like for the fans, I'm not 100% sure yet. Apart from the transport links, like you said. I mean, for me, it's like one train now, which is great.
Yeah, I was always on the fence. When I first heard about it, I wasn't really keen because my earliest memories of childhood, if you like, was my mum and dad taking me to Upton Park for the first time. So there is that sort of connection. And I also don't get into games as much as you living up here in Aberdeen. But when I do and I come out of the tube station, I see Upton Park, I don't know, you get that kind of buzz that you don't experience anywhere else. And I do worry that I'm not going to get that at the Olympic Stadium. But last time I was down, I went out to the Olympic Stadium. And it's impressive. But I didn't quite get that same buzz as I did when I seen Upton Park, and I still get that. I've been going for over 20 years now, and I still get that buzz as soon as I see it. But it's crucial, I think. The one thing that does convince me is the right thing is the opposition fans hate the fact that we're moving into that, and I see that as a good thing. That they dislike it. Gonzo, do you think we will fill the 55,000 seats?
That Andorran team did, I mean, the ticketing was good, £5 for kids, £10 for adults, 36,000 for a game like that. It's a unique club. I think West Ham. Not saying we're the best club in the world, of course we're the best, but we're not the biggest club in the world. But when you start getting out to the heartlands, Essex and Kent and places like that, there's a lot of fans. You've only got to travel around the world. I've been different countries in the world, and you'll bump into a West Ham fan. I think the team's crucial. I know you want to talk about it later, but I don't think a Dower team, a Sam Allardyce team, gets 55,000 in the stadium. But I also think we're not looking for 55,000 West Ham fans. There's going to be a huge away support allocation, which worries me. To be fair, I'd stick them right up in the gods like they do at Barcelona. There could be, play Man U. There could be 8,000 away fans there or something like that. The other thing that we're going to have to encourage new fans. It's the stick we like to beat Chelsea fans with. Chelsea are the plastics, they had 15,000 fans and blah blah. And Abramovich came in, and all of a sudden they've got brand new fans. We can't be too precious. We are going to need to get some new fans, but I think we've got a good, strong fan base, and I do think we'll fill it pretty much every game. Will we have 55,000 fans if we play Norwich in November? Who knows? But more or less, I think so.
I suppose that's where the chairman have got to price those games up properly, I suppose, to make sure that people do come in their numbers like they did against the last two Europa League games. Charlie, do you see a problem with 55,000, or are you quite happy that we'll get the crowd in?
I don't necessarily see a problem with 55,000 as such. I don't really think it's the number. I think we'll probably slightly struggle, but I think the pricing's the big thing. I think if they make it actually affordable, then we will get at least close to it. Or allow me to rephrase that, at the level that most top clubs will get. I'm not calling us a top club, but at that sort of level of capacity. But I think it really does come down to pricing, and I don't really trust the owners in that sense. Kind of.
Well, in fairness, they have announced the season ticket at £289, so the effort is there. Whether that will remain, the seats won't be the best, but it does mean that people who maybe can't afford to go until now will be able to afford a season ticket. People like myself, where I'm not lucky like you guys to live just around the corner from the stadium or that and hop on a tube and I'm there. I've got to travel all the way down from the other end of the country, and that's when I have to think about my transport and my accommodation costs as well. So that season ticket opens up the possibility for me to get a season ticket and not necessarily go to every game and not worry about missing out on value of that. Charlie, do you think we would have filled that stadium or got near to it if Allardyce was still in charge with the same kind of football we've seen over the last 4 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like when I was looking at because I did have a season ticket up until this year, and I decided not to renew, and a lot of things happened at once which kind of made that decision for me. But a big one was like, at the time, it wasn't 100% certain whether Allardyce would actually be going or not, and to be honest with you, I just didn't want to have another season of that sort of thing, so I just decided not to. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of, like I said, it all comes down to pricing for me, really, and the fact we don't have Allardyce anymore will definitely help, at least for people like me, I guess.
Gonzo, do you think it'll encourage more fans, or maybe the fans that have stayed away in the past, to come back to West Ham with Allardyce no longer at the helm?
Yes, I think he was. He had some support, but it was pretty thin on the ground. Come the end of his stay. I think his players, exciting players. Again, you want to discuss the new signings later, but exciting players, bums on seats, isn't it? Or not just bums on seats. Who gets you out your seat? And it was hard. It's hard with players like Nolan and perhaps some of the other guys who are not the most exciting players in the world. And I think that really comes down to it. And it's all very well saying this manager or that manager, but if you're not going to, listen, Di Canio's an icon. And because he was a bloody good player, because he was passionate, because he cared, because he would try things, lots and lots of flair. And as West Ham fans, we love a try, and we traditionally love a bit of flair. So I think if they can make the team interesting and make the team appealing, then the fan, build it and they will come, as the thing says, and that's I think the fans will go. And let's be honest with you, with the players that are coming in, it's looking pretty good. Personally, I want to go to as many games as I can at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely positive vibes from the fans about the transfer dealings so far. One player, however, that might suffer with Allardyce leaving is our captain, or captain for now anyway. Charlie, do you think Nolan still has any role to play at West Ham, or do you think the exit doors is kind of like the only route for him?
I think there's a role for him. I mean, he like the one thing everyone says about him, and it's almost despite their opinion on what he's like on the pitch. He is the only decent captain we've had for quite a long time. Like some people say Lucas Neal or whatever, but
yeah, I'd say since then,
coming from like Matthew Upson and people, yeah, I mean, I think that's where most people sort of think about it. Coming from like Matthew Upson to Kevin Nolan, what captaincy is, and I think, to be honest, I think there's probably still a role for him at the club. I think that especially if we do end up getting into any of past, even in the group stages of the Europa League and beyond, and then you've got the League Cup to think about and the FA Cup and all these other things, I think there's definitely space for him to at least get a couple of games, but do you want to really be paying 50 grand a week or whatever he's supposedly on for someone who's going to play incredibly rarely? I would say, I don't know about that. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, there's no question his leadership qualities. I think at the friendly when Payet scored his second goal, I know it was Nolan, when everyone was high-fiving him, Nolan stayed behind and had a word with him just to do his captain's role, I suppose. Gonzo, what do you think about Nolan? The forum's been kind of anti-Nolan this last few months. I've got a bit of stick for backing him a few times, but I'll stand by that. Are you with the forum, or do you think he's still got a wee role at West Ham?
Yeah, I'm probably a big part of that criticism of him, to be honest with you. Look, before I really start digging him out, he was a good sign at the time. He was great in the Championship, really good finisher, and the second season was really good as well. If he'd have left then, there'd be a lot of goodwill for Nolan, but he's outstayed his welcome, okay? Which has sort of soured things for me as far as I'm concerned. The thing is with Nolan, he can't pass, he can't run, he can't tackle, and he can't dribble, okay? Really, Nolan needs to be judged as a centre forward, and if he's not scoring goals, which are what have dried up, then really he's not contributing to the team at all. And I take what you're saying about leadership and all of that, and clearly there's some degree of importance to that. But I mean, I remember the Swansea game last season. Sorry, Aston Villa game last season before the Swansea game. I was watching it, and Song was almost refusing to pass to him. He was looking for every other option. He just can't join in. And actually, his players, whether Song signs, whether Song doesn't sign, that's actually the direction we're going in. We're going for pass and move players, and Nolan passes safely, then stands still, and then he was that traditional late run into the box to get on the end of things. That's gone. He's too reliant on his mate Andy. When Carroll wasn't in he didn't even score when Carroll was in the team last season, but when he was gone, he couldn't join in with that other stuff. It's got to be. He's got to go. He's got to go. I've seen enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with Charlie on this one. I think he's still got a squad role to play. I think his experience could be vital, especially when we're bringing through this next wave of youth players from the academy. I think having people like him in the change room just to ease them in, make them feel a bit welcome, if you like, and not too phased by the whole leap from youth team and development team to the first team. I think he can be quite vital for that. But I still think he still gives 100% effort. There's no doubt in that. But I get what you're saying. He's not good enough anymore. He's lost that yard of pace that he didn't really have at the start, but he's kind of gone backwards on that as well. But so, Gonzo, you think he's going to go, or he has to go? So who do you think is going to be captain, or who would you want to be captain? It could be two different answers, I suppose. But
they are two different answers. I'm not sure. Listen, we don't know who's going to be in the team. From what we've seen, you've got to look at the team first of all. From the formation we've seen, and we've seen a few games now. Okay, you've got to probably say he's going to play two guys essentially. So he's going to play Adrian in goal. He's going to play Jenkinson's going to be right back. centre backs. Reeves, you'd have to say, 'cause he's on big money. They've just splashed out nearly 10 million on a guy, Mongo from Juventus, whatever. What's his name again?
Ogbonna.
Ogbonna, sorry.
Yeah.
Cresswell at left back. Then there seems to be two holding guys. One of them was going to be Coyote, sensational player. I thought it was brilliant. The other one is possibly Song, or the rumours of the Cambiasso. If not, and they brought Obiang from Sampdoria.
Mm.
The three in front are obviously Payet, or however you say his name. You're going to be looking at him. Then you're looking at the new guy, Lanzini. And if they get Morales, then you've got Morales there, and then probably Sacco at the top, or whatever striker they may or may not bring in. As there really a lot of, firstly, who's commanding there? They're probably going to give it to Reed. But he doesn't talk enough for me. Personally, I'd like to see Tompkins in the team. I'd like to see it given to Tompkins.
Charlie, what's your thoughts?
It's difficult to say because a lot of people talk about, like, will this person play enough? Like, when they say Noble, for example, they say, oh, will he play enough games? Will this, will that? And I think really we don't actually know because of the amount of games we've got. I think there's going to be a heck of a lot of squad rotation, especially with the amount of centre midfielders we've got. So I think as a club, I think I would like to see Noble get it because who he is and obviously where he came from, and I think he is like that vocal person on the pitch, at least from what you can disagree with that if you want, that's what I think anyway. Reed will probably get it though, just because he'll play more games. But if we're talking about just games, then no one's going to play more games than Adrian. So it's a weird one. I would say Noble specifically, but it's going to be. I really don't know. It depends purely on what Slavan Bilic wants, which means it'll probably be Reed actually, seeing as centre back love and all that kind of stuff. So I assume that's what we'll go. But I would go with Noble personally.
You could always keep Nolan as captain, I suppose. I mean, Gary Monk at Swansea was still the club captain, although he never ever played. Ashley Williams always had the captain's armband, but Gary Monk was the official club captain, if you like, until Gary Monk retired the armband himself. But like you said, there's going to be plenty of rotation. We're probably going to see about 5 big captains over the season, and I think we've mentioned them all already. The only one that suggests that we might get it if we get him is Song. I know he's got that injury. If we get him in, I do wonder if maybe he would get it just because of who he is. He comes with that big profile of a player. He's probably a level ahead of where West Ham currently are, and that's the type of player we need to get in. But we touched on some signings. I think this is an obvious answer, Charlie, but what signing are you most pleased by, I suppose? What ones made you excited the most, or are you glad we've got?
Most pleased Payet, most excited about Samuelson.
Yeah.
I think Payet is just on another level, and I think especially once we got rid of Downing, I was a bit worried about who that player was going to be, because he was so instrumental with the middle, just behind the strikers sort of thing. And I know we're going to play a slightly different formation, but there still didn't really have anyone who fitted that role except for Nolan, and he's not that person we need. So Payet's probably the one I'm most pleased about, just because I think he's probably going to be one of our best players this season. Well, probably, at least that's what it looks like now in this early stage. But I think Samuelson's the most exciting for me. Every time I've seen him play, he's just looked like genuinely exciting. He picks up the ball wide, and he doesn't just run with it like Zarate does, because Zarate just runs and runs and runs and runs and runs. He runs with it, but then knows when to release the ball, when to take shots, and he actually looks like he has the ability to do that as well. So he's probably the most exciting, for me at least. That could be just because he looks my age as well, so I get overexcited about that. Like, so, imagine it's me. But yeah, that's what I'm most excited about, at least.
Gonzo, I'm going to assume you're maybe going by your posts on the forum that your opinions are probably the same as Charlie's, are they?
Well, it's funny because Charlie just said he feels an affinity with Samuelson because they're of a similar age, but it's sort of just occurred to me that actually, in terms of appearance, Charlie looks like the new goalkeeper.
I'll take that all day. I'm a big fan of Randolph's beard. I'm not gonna lie.
Nose reindeer, yeah. Yeah, Samuelson looks very promising. Payet, I mean, I'm very, very. Funny enough, I saw a car. I went. I'm a builder. I went and saw a customer the other day, and his son plays for the Swindon Academy. And for some reason, Swindon were in Southend, and they got offered the chance to go to the game. And he said two things to me. Actually, the first of which was, "Oh, I can't believe you got rid of Allardyce. Be careful what you wish for." I thought, "Blimey, not another one." But he actually said to me, he said, "We got free tickets to the game against Southend," and he said Payet was sensational, and he praised Samuelson. But it's actually, listen, I'm not seeing this Lanzini play apart from clips on YouTube. But he looks really skillful, and I love technical players. I love number 10s. And the talk of Morales, I don't know if you remember what Morales did to us in that cup game we played Everton. He came on as a sub, was sensational. Just mouth-watering, the fact that you could think Payet, whatever his name, Lanzini, and then Morales. I mean, as a three attacking, trio with you don't know, might be Hernandez, but with Sacco in front of them. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. To be fair, pragmatic signing. Hendry, cover for a left back. I mean, so yeah, I mean, very decent. I couldn't tell you. I mean, Obiang, don't know. Ogbonna, I mean, crikey, did you read what the Juventus fans have been saying about him? Not that you should pay attention to what anyone says on the forum, of course. Most people would speak total rubbish.
Yeah, he's worrying, and the goal at the weekend. He tended against Peterborough. I know it was only a friendly, but he gave up very easily when he got absolutely roasted by one of the players. Southend, sorry, he got absolutely roasted by their striker and just stood still. That's a bit worried that he's a statue already, but it's just a friendly, I suppose. The one I'm most impressed by, which is quite weird, is Jenkinson. It's not necessarily getting Jenkinson alone, it's more the board wanted Jenkinson, so they went and got him and did whatever they had to do to go get him. And it's been a while, I think, since I've seen West Ham have that kind of force in a transfer market where they go out and get their player, and it's a case of they just kept going after him until they got him. They could have easily thrown the towel in and let Jenkinson go up to Sunderland on loan, but that split opinions on the forum, that Jenkinson thing anyway. Our Twitter went into meltdown that night.
Just a bit. But
it should be good. Is there a certain striker you want to see here, Charlie?
I'm probably too vocal at times about the fact that I want to see a winger in first. But yeah, we talked about Morales. I think striker-wise, I think it depends. Money-wise, I think it would be best to get Hernandez. He's also incredibly talented, but he's probably the cheapest as well out of the ones we've been looking at. I think Austin has by far the best resale value purely because he's English, and English players seem to have this weird premium going about them well, we know why, it's because of homegrown rule, but if we were to buy him, you can see him leaving in a couple of years for a huge amount of money, or staying and being a great player, so that's a good thing. But yeah, for me it's Hernandez. He's very similar to Sacco in that he is just a pure goal scorer, like nothing else. But I think if we're going to play one up front and then have three creative people behind them, mainly making the chances, in honesty, I think all we need is someone just to find the correct space and to be there. So when we play the ball to them, they can just put the ball in the net. And I think Hernandez is by far the best option we've got for that.
Gonzo, are you the same? I know the talk of a striker's dried up recently over the last few days, whereas last week it seemed all but certain we were going to sign one. But which striker would you like to see if we were to get one?
I'd say I'd love to see Berahino. I know it won't happen, but what a good player he is. I mean, you wouldn't stand a chance of getting him if he was at Liverpool or something like that. But he's at West Brom. I don't know what the money situation is. I mean, you've got to think. I think we spent 33 million last year on transfers, and if there was a similar amount available this year, well, that's actually been inflated somewhat because we've had another 5-6 million for Downing. So, is it unachievable? I mean, I really like him. He's a very, very good striker. Apart from that, I totally agree with what Charlie said. To be perfectly honest with you, Hernandez is a poacher. He's a goal finisher. And let's be honest with you, you've got Payet, who's created the most assists in Europe last year, or whatever it was, the most chances. I don't know the exact stat. if you're going to have that level of creativity behind a striker, really, your striker doesn't need to be dribbling past players. You've got three guys behind him that are going to do that anyway. Actually, you just got to stand in the right position, pop the ball in the back of the net. I was watching something on Sky Sports last night, and it was whatever, one of these programs they throw together 100 greatest moments or whatever in the Premier League. And it was just a little run. And funny enough, it was actually a Rooney goal, but I watched it and I really picked up on Hernandez, who just ran towards the centre back and then just quickly ran away from him and just created 2 yards. The ball didn't go to him; it was there as an option, but it really showed what he's all about. It's just creating space. He's one of these guys, a little guy who somehow manages to score headed goals and just finds a space. I'd go for him.
Fancy yourself as a bit of a scout then, do you, watching all your Sky Sports programmes and analyse?
They're one of those scouts, yeah.
It's Charlie Austin for me. I could be wrong, but I think he's 4 or 5 years younger than Hernandez as well. I think Hernandez is a lot older than people think. I think he's late 20s now, although...
27, I think. 27, yeah. Is he not?
I don't know, he's 27 or 28, I think, but I think Austin's like 23. But Austin I would like to see, I think he's a different striker to what we've got. I think Hernandez is a bit like Sacco, and that worries me a wee bit. But the one sign that concerns me is our goalkeeper. I'm not really convinced by that. No, I'm not being...
He's very static. All he does is sit in a chair with headphones on.
Charlie's rubbish in goal. Charlie,
I'm the best. I don't know what you're talking about.
does he concern you, Charlie? Does Randolph concern you at all?
No, not really. I think the hate he got, and it was hate from some people, after whatever the last friendly we had was, I've completely forgotten. It was a bit much. I think the first goal he couldn't have done anything about. It deflected off, I think it was James Collins at the last second. I mean, he had literally no chance. He's flapped at a couple of crosses, but ultimately we're looking at someone who played, I think it was like 45, 46 games for Birmingham last year, and they didn't want him to leave. He chose to leave of his own accord. They offered him a new contract. He said, no, I'm going. So I'm completely fine with him. He's not really going to play that many games, to be perfectly honest.
Well,
Adrian's got that position stoked.
One major injury away from using him for the rest of the season, though, isn't it? And that's what concerns me, that we may have to rely on this guy. I was quite pleased that Jaskalainen left, because I thought he was one of the deadwood that we needed to get rid of and get someone younger in, even a bit better. I didn't really know about Randolph, but the Birmingham fans didn't seem overly fussed that he was leaving, and that was a bit of a concern. Gonzo, are you concerned about him?
I've not seen it. I've seen your tweets about him flapping around and whatnot. I've not seen enough of him. I went to the game on Thursday, the European game. I saw a dodgy stream of the first European game where the footage was probably worse than the quality that this is going to be. It was awful. So I've not seen enough of him. What I would say is if you've got a set budget, and I would prefer that to be spent on these exciting players, on getting Jenkinson, as you say, covering cover for the left back. And if the one risk is, you know what, we can afford to buy another striker, but what we can't do is we're probably have to risk it and get a bit of a cheap guy in as a second string goalkeeper. I would say, do you know what, let's take the risk there and let's go for it. If it means bringing in Morales or something like that, I'm happy to do that. But I take what you're saying. I mean, I was doing my fantasy league team earlier, looking through the goalkeepers, and I noticed Shay Given was back up. And I thought, you know what, that's a great bit of experience for someone to have as a backup goalkeeper. He's probably old enough that he won't mind being sort of second choice. So, yeah, who knows?
Last season, yeah. There's a reason he was free from Villa.
I mean, I don't think Shay Given was that bad, actually. I thought he was right. I mean, he obviously made some mistakes here and there, but, I mean, when he was called upon, he was good enough to be a second-string goalkeeper, at least. I think the other thing with Randolph as well is that we're not going to need him for that long. Sam Howells, who's a young goalkeeper in our under-21s at the moment, played pre-season with us last year, seemed all right, and has seemed to have been continuing to play with under-21s and whatnot. So we might not actually need him for that long, and so getting him in on a free for someone who's not going to play that much unless there is a big injury, I've got literally no problem with Randolph.
Well, hopefully we don't need him too much because I'll panic if we do. I'm going to be expecting him coming out trying to get every cross and not get any. He's worse than Rob Green at crosses, and that says something. But anyway, guys, that's the end of our show for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. We will continue discussion on the forum, so if you do pop onto hammerschat.com for our news article, the forum website will be below, and it's also at the start of the programme. Also, you can tweet us at hammers_chat as well. Next week, though, we will have 4 people. Myself and Gonzo will be on every week, unfortunately. You're going to have to put up with my weird Scottish voice and his big nose. But Charlie will be on quite often throughout the season. But if you do want to pop on, we're going to have 2 people every week on with myself and Gonzo. You can just get in touch with us through the forum, through Twitter. You just get in touch with us at all and we'll get you on. But thank you very much for watching. Right, cheers, Gonzo.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Jesus.
See ya.